So, centre-back search. Various reports today suggest... No, we'll try this again. Will we go again? Take two, everybody. Various reports today suggest that we're one of a number of clubs that are interested in Sampdoria's 27-year-old Omar Colley. Another one of these that I'm not even going to pretend that I knew anything about before the links today. It's believed he's a buyout clause of around £10.8 million in his current deal. 6'3" tall, and has had spells in Europe with clubs in Finland, Sweden, Belgium before moving to Sampdoria. That's about all I know about this guy. But as many journalists have said, it looks like a centre-back and a wide forward are the priorities for Liverpool in this window. I know, I can already hear people screaming Thiago at me. Thiago. I know. But as each day goes past, I'm feeling less confident that Thiago will end up a Liverpool player, unfortunately. Yesterday I was on the fence. Today I'm leaning a little bit more towards the no side. But I'm trying to keep up with what's going on, and ESPN put something out there to suggest that he's looking for wages of about 200 grand a week, and that's putting Manchester United off signing him. Now, I don't really think United are that interested in signing Thiago. I think it's more Bayern Munich throwing his name around there. But what I will say is, one thing we've heard consistently is that Liverpool have agreed terms with his representatives. So that seems to have been done and dusted. Now that's gone back a very long time, where Thiago first came up as interest to Liverpool or being linked to Liverpool. We heard from pick a journalist, doesn't matter which one, Fabrizio Romano, Christian Falk, they've all said that Liverpool have agreed terms. So terms aren't the issue. But I would be very surprised if we had agreed to pay Thiago in excess of 200 grand a week. That will put him right up there with Mohamed Salah as our top earner at the club. So I think the number that's been bandied around can't be right if Liverpool have agreed terms with his representatives. There's no way I can see Liverpool bringing in somebody on 200 grand a week. Even somebody like Thiago, who is at the pinnacle of his career, who is in his prime, who has just won the Champions League. I would suggest that if we have agreed terms, that our wage structure would indicate that it'll be a little bit less, maybe more of an incentivised contract. But again, all of this means nothing unless there's an agreement between the clubs. And it seems like this one is going to drag on to the last week if Liverpool are indeed to be interested. At least that's what's coming out from a lot of different people as well. James Pearce still believes the only way we'll see the club make an offer for Thiago is if the midfielder leaves, or a midfielder leaves, and there's space in the squad. And it doesn't look like that midfielder is going to be Gini, by the way. He's moving closer and closer to an agreement with the club. As I said all along, it looked like it wasn't a wage thing with Gini, it wasn't an ambition thing, it was a length of contract. And right now, although no talks I believe have yet taken place over the contract, there is goodwill apparently on both sides, and it's looking like Gini's told the gaffer he wants to stay, he wants to be part of the project. And look, I'm very happy with that. I love Gini Wijnaldum. I've spoken about that many times, and I know a lot of people... It's weird because it's almost turned a lot of people against Gini because of the links to Thiago, which is really unfair on Gini Wijnaldum because the man's been nothing but a solid 7.5 out of 10 since he's been at Liverpool, and as we said before, he can play in various positions. What have we got? Joseph said, don't need Thiago, got enough cover in midfield, we need a striker. We're not going to get a striker, unfortunately. We're going to get a wide forward. And I hope that placates people because it's certainly the position I think we need to strengthen in. I will talk about Roberto Firmino in that situation. And John Aldridge just had a little bit to say on Bobby Firmino as well. And we'll touch on that a bit later in the stream. But if we are to bring in a forward, I mean, anyone who's hoping it's going to be a centre forward, I think needs to tone it down because it's going to be a wide forward to give Sadio Mane a bit of cover from what I've read. Umtiti as a 4-choice centre-back, Wahed said, not for me, nor do I think he'd want to come in as a 4-choice centre-back either, mate. I mean, coming from Barcelona like that, I think he'd probably want to be starting week in and week out. Mo said, no huge money signings going to take place. I agree, Mo, not from our side anyway. I mean, the wide forward will probably be the most expensive of the bunch. Probably talking about 30 million to 40 million if it's somebody like Sarr, as an example, from Watford. And it's really quiet on that whole situation. I mean, regarding Sarr in general, I haven't really seen too much from a Watford side, nor have I seen too much from any other club showing interest in him. It's almost like Liverpool may have a free run at Sarr from what I'm reading anyway. Right, what else have we got? Keep your comments coming, folks. I've got loads of stuff to go through, but as always, I want to read through your comments. Any news on Ozan Kabak from Schalke? They said that they're not selling the guy. We touched on it yesterday. I think it was yesterday's stream, Rahul. And Schalke came out and said that they've only got the guy in. He's really happy there. He's settled and he's part of the project moving forward. But we were listed as one of the clubs that were looking at him. But the feedback coming from Schalke is no dice, no move this summer anyway for him. But again, good shout on the player. City Fisher said, Gini's a 6 out of 10 player most week. Thiago would have been 8 or 9 out of 10, so disappointing if we don't get him. I mean, I understand why you'd be disappointed if we don't get Thiago, mate. We'd all feel a bit disappointed, but it's a bit unfair of us to kind of use Gini as the scapegoat, if you get where I'm coming from. Now, I don't know if the only reason that maybe we had a word with Thiago's representatives was because the vibes coming out were that Gini may move to Barcelona. Vidal is about to leave Barcelona now, so they're going to free up another place in their midfield and a whole chunk of wages as well. They've obviously let Ivan Rakitic go to Sevilla as well, so Barca are going to be in the market for a midfielder. Whether that midfielder be Thiago or not, I don't know. That remains to be seen. A lot of clubs scurrying right now to try and move players out and free up cash. That's one thing we know for certain. James Pearce also put out there today, just touching on the finances, again not claiming to be an expert by any way, shape or form, but it looks like he was told, this is what he said, I was told that the club's losses are going to amount to about £100 million from this whole shutdown or this whole pandemic that's going on in the world. So, you know, but here's where I think rightly Liverpool fans ask a question. We're not the only club that this has affected. We all know that. We also know that other clubs are going into debt to do their signings. They're taking loans from the owners of the club, or the owners of the club are going to get loans and giving them to the club. Lampard at Chelsea, obviously we know that. Spurs have taken a loan, I believe, and a few other Premier League clubs as well. And our owners are unwilling to do that. That's not the business model that they signed up for when they bought the club. Whether we like that or we dislike that, that's kind of where we are. I think this is an exception to the rule, though, and I would like to see our owners go into a little bit of debt, or at least maybe front the club 50, 60 million quid to let Klopp do the business that he needs to do. I know that that's not the business model. And I know that people are going to say to me, and rightly say to me, that they've done a lot of great things, that we've invested in the infrastructure. We've got the new main stand, we're looking at the Annie Road end, obviously the new training ground in Kirby that we're going to be moving into shortly, and a few other bits and pieces as well. And that's fair enough. But we're not the only club. Spurs have moved into a brand new shiny £1 billion stadium, and they're out there doing stuff in the transfer window. So again, they had furloughed their staff, and they've taken a loan, I think, on board from the government as well, but they're still able to go out and do business in the window. It is frustrating. It's frustrating because we all have belief in the squad. There's no doubt about that. We all have belief that this Liverpool team and this group of players can do something special again. But they do need a little bit of revitalisation. They need a bit of fresh blood in the dressing room. They need a bit of a lift, I think. Because this is going to be a long season. People are going to be mentally fatigued with what's going on around the world. And, you know, players getting tested as well all the time. It all takes its toll. So a little bit of fresh blood in there for me. The couple of players that the manager wants, I think it should be realistic. He's not asking for the sun, the moon and the stars. Do you know what I mean?